Good afternoon, evening, morning, whichever you're listening to this at the moment. My name's Andy Bevan. I'm the Football Development Manager at Cheltenham Football Club. I'm just going to give you a brief presentation of our pathway at the football club that we have been working on the last 12 months successfully and going to continue working on. Since we come into post, what we were trying to do is when players finished at the age of under 16s within our development centres and academies, for want of a better word, we were trying to get them a pathway into men's football ultimately. How we did this, obviously, we got the college programmes, which we work in Cheltenham and in Hereford. We've got two of them running. We've also got a ladies team as well. But of course, some lads want to go on and ladies want to go on and do their A levels, which doesn't coincide with doing the BTEC under 19s EFL program that we run. So obviously you've then got our scholars got the under 18s academy. So there was another pathway we looked at was running an under 18s Midland Floodlit League. And Ian and Lee and myself and Luke put together alongside Tim a plan to try and start an under 18s floodlit side. I run one 3 years ago with the Hereford side, and we found it successful and it worked. So we already had experience of this and had used it as a pilot. And we started it last season. So to give you an idea of what we wanted to do was when the lads finished under 16s, we still offered them a pathway at under 18s, so our 17s, 18s, and then we got pathways into the men's football pyramid as well, with obviously the connections we have with the football club, myself obviously working as a first team coach at Malvern, but also links with other step 7s to step 5s to step 6, step 4 clubs. So there is a pathway right through is what we were trying to get for all our young footballers. So started it last season, and this is what we're going to show you now is a brief slide of how it's worked and if whether it's something that we want to continue doing. So as when your son, if you're an under 14 watching this now, thinking, well, where do I go after under 16s if I don't get anything, where do I continue playing my football? Well, this is where we're going to show you. So obviously we've got Tim, top left of your screen there as the academy manager. You got myself as the football development manager, and then we've got Luke who oversees our Cheltenham site in the foundation and the YDP stages. We've also got in our Hereford site, we've obviously got James and Darren who run those in the same roles as what Luke does there. But running our under 18s last season were Lee Buchanan and Ian Cummins, who came from our under 16s. And I will touch on a bit of that squad in a little bit. And obviously we got Mike, he's potentially going to be our under 17s coach next season, who currently does our under 16s in Cheltenham. So it gives you an idea of how we want to try and get the structure running. But this program is for any players that is interested in coming to football. You don't have to have been with Cheltenham Town, but obviously our players that have been in Cheltenham's under 16s, under 15s get first refusal going into the 24-25 season. So these are a couple of pictures that they started from last season with the boys playing at venues last season, and these pictures were kindly put on here with the permission of everyone involved. Obviously, we've got our Twitter handle that we use there, which is also can be retweeted by our academy, and there's the email address for any contacts if you want to get in touch with us as well. So we still do the same ethos as the football club, one club, one ethos. So we use the same SLR rules within the academy culture. So our safeguarding, learning, respect, same as also our values, our wiser values that we work within the football club, our work ethic, integrity, solutions, enjoyment and responsibilities. This continues. So on the screen are images of actually our Hereford college program. So they're playing Bristol Rovers in the EFL. So it just gives you a little idea that we are trying to stick together and run it as one club, one ethos. These are all the different pathways around what we try and do within our football club. Obviously, we got the academy route. We go into from academy under 16s, they go into becoming a scholar, or development players can become into that. They can also become into the reserves. And then ultimately the first team contract is what they're looking for. They can also be released from other clubs to get into that, or under 16s youth development plays there. They can go into youth team scholars. That has happened. They also then get offered an opportunity to come into our under 17s, 18s pathways, which is what we're talking about, which the arrow then leads on from that. They go into the men's football pyramid. Into our education program this side, our under 16 development centres. So there's all lots of different pathways that can lead to ultimately where we look after our players from the age of when they come to us now with our mini Robins at under 5s, right the way through to the men's football pyramid. And that's what we want to look at. So under 17s team for next season, 24-25, how can I be involved? What are the details around it? So you can apply for a trial with it. Any CTFC player or any player can contact those email addresses on there. They are monitored by our staff at Cheltenham, and they will get in touch with us and get back to you. If successful, you will then get a welcome email offer, which will explain all the costs, etc. Because unfortunately, it isn't a funded program. So our under-17s will train once a week and play in the Cheltenham Youth Football League, a Gloucester Floodlit League, which they played last season. Our under-18s. All training and matches will be in the week. Coaches will be UEFA B licenses. Obviously, we've got, like I said, I've got Mike is the lead 17s, and then we got Lee and Ian continuing in with the under 18s. So, under 17s football team, why? Why 17s, 18? So we've got a complete pathway for Cheltenham Town players. We now can offer a proven pathway from 5 years old to men's football in pyramid, as I've already talked about. Players can choose to do their other education options than at football clubs with the BTEC program. So if they want to do A-levels, they can still play in our under-17s and 18s side. Oh, obviously got bored with doing that one, so we'll go back, sorry. They can now continue to represent the football club whilst also dipping into the senior game from 16 years old. Like I said, they can play for our under-17s and 18s, but also if they want to get into the men's football, we can get them in on a Saturday at men's level, where we think is suitable in discussion with the player and the coaching staff, where we think we can start to drip feed them in, because obviously the Midland Flood League plays in the week, so all games are played midweek, freeing up a Saturday. Why? Remain part of the Cheltenham Town Football Club, follow the club's training syllabus, football philosophy, and wear the Cheltenham Town kit as you have done so far. As the season progresses, we look to include several of the under-15s, which will be under-16s next year, to keep progressing the squad. And I'll tell you for why this has become paramount in a little while. A venue that the under-18s teams used last season was with our connections was Newent Town, unfortunately. So what I've done with all this presentation is I've asked for brutal honesty from the under-18s. Obviously, we did it when we did a projection of how we can make it work within the football club, because ultimately it has to be viable. It has to be financially viable. Otherwise, like anything, like any business model, it won't work longevity. It can be a 1 or 2 season wonder. We didn't want that. We wanted this to continue a pathway. And we know we can make it work. So we linked with Newent Town and we used their pitch, but I've asked for Ian to give his honest opinion on how things have gone this season, and I'll touch on them in a little bit while. Obviously, there's Winchcombe. We've used that as our training facility, and we continue to do so. Got a wonderful relationship with the school, and yeah, it just keeps projecting the way that we want it to run. So I asked Ian to be honest with his what went wells. So as you all have seen, we start to do these in our match reports now throughout our football club. So what went well? The under-18 develop has set it up. It had to operate financially. And where it's difficult with under-18s football, without going ins and outs of everything, but just to give you a basic idea. Obviously, it's a midweek, so we need a football pitch with floodlights. It has to be of a certain standard, so a step 5, step 6 club standard. Hence the Newent Town one. It's got a barrier around it. It's got floodlights. So to have that costs £80 or £90 to hire it, 80 to 100. You then got to look at the officials. So you got to have match day officials. So all this comes at a cost, which, potentially you don't normally have when it's under 16s, because obviously they play Saturdays. So we had to make sure it's financially viable. We have done that and it's worked. We've projected it. And so far it's on course to show a minimal profit, but it's shown a profit. So it washes its face. And whilst it does that, the football club are happy to support it. 8 of our under-16 squads were already at the club, so have extended their time with us, demonstrating that the pathway can work. It is worth remembering, I love this bit, that we have actually 0 under-18s in the squad, predominantly all under-17s. With a few under-16s. Most of the teams in this league that they play in, at majority are under-18. So putting them in place has proved an opportunity for the squad to play 1 or 2 years up, developing them at a higher level, and it will help develop as we push them into men's football. 6 under-16s have played from this season, so 6 of the current 16s that are going to go under-17s next season have gone and played for them, which so that they can clarify that. They've managed to comply in regards to providing food after games for the officials and the opposing team by organising the parents. So this isn't just the coaches sorting it. This is a whole package that we need everyone to support. So parents have helped with entrance fees on games and homes to help it make it viable. Home fixtures, again, like they said, this was a big issue to being accepted into the league, because apparently, obviously, this wasn't done before. Players and parents seem to appreciate the Player of the Month awards, which obviously Ian and Lee have put in at their own expense, but monthly making it work and making it more engaging, which has been fantastic. They've had some absolutely fantastic performances, a wonderful win over Slimbridge against Hereford Pegasus, who obviously I know quite well, a 4-1 win against local team Ledbury again. And a number of level of players by Ian's reckoning have stood out this season and have given themselves a great chance to go forward next season, which is great. Even better if we had an Astro to play home games on. They had a lot of problems with Newent in terms of games called off, because I think unfortunately we have been unprecedented with the weather this season, as we all know, constantly waterlogged, and then they try to get their first team on. So it's crucial. We've got to find a pitch for that. So obviously I reach out to any parents in the area that know any adult teams in the area that potentially we could pitch share, so as we could train or play on. We're open. Nothing is set in stone with Winchcombe or Newent or anywhere. We're looking for more options. The more options we got, the greater power we have to negotiate it so as it can make it more viable for us. Training on a Friday night is very unpopular, as Ian's put in there, with players and parents, because obviously wanting to play at the weekends. Because when you play in this league, you pick which nights you play. So that could be a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whichever home night you decide. So ideally it would work within the rest of the development centre, but as we continue to grow what we do, obviously we are continuing to look for facilities. So by it all, it seems to be going quite well. I've done a snapshot of the league, and as you can see, the guys are, just below halfway, which is, listen, results never matter to us. And if we put that alongside that under 18 development in brackets, we put mostly 17, then that's a phenomenal achievement, because they're still going to be in that league next season, which again, this is what we want it to do, to make it a whole pathway. So listen, that's the majority of the presentation. I'm sure you're going to have some questions around what we're trying to do next season. Please feel free to contact Mike, Ian, Lee, Luke, myself, drop us a message, drop us an email, whichever, and we will get back to you. We want this to be a success. We want to show it's a pathway for all our Cheltenham players, whether that's Hereford, Hartpury or Cheltenham. All of them we want to be able to put into this to make it work again. So thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully I will catch you all soon. Thank you very much.